Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
For the roll for the meeting June 23rd, Councillor Shan. Councillor Wright.
Yeah.
Councillor Zeid. Councillor Dennehy.
Here.
Councillor Granis.
Here.
Councillor Harmon. Here. Councillor Khan.
Present.
Councillor Lane. Councillor McCauley.
Here.
Councillor Preston.
Here.
Councillor Cameron.
Here. Yeah, we'll get us to late files.
Yeah.
Files tonight, there are a number of them. There's the application 270, the High Street Mile, for August 3rd, 2025, from 9 to 10 a.m. License and permits. Appointment 577, Wilford Paul Suazo Jr., 700 Drive, a reappointment to the Water Sewer Commission until 5/1/2027 to Public Works and Safety. Order 721 and Communication 637 are not late files, but they are coming, they're being removed from Budget and Finance tonight, and they weren't on the original agenda to come out. And Ordinance 203, the same, it's coming out of Public Works and Safety this evening. The other two new items tonight are Order 735, the motion for special quorum, and the Communication 651, a memo to City Council President regarding discipline of City Council members.
Yeah, motion to waive the rules and accept late files application 270, appointment 577, order 721, communication 637, and ordinance 203.
Okay, so the motion was to accept as late files application 270, appointment 577, order 721, and ordinance 203,
And communication 637.
and communication 637. Okay. All right. Discussion? Okay. Roll call on the for Councillors Zeid and McCauley, I will try to keep my eyes open for hands up, but please feel free to unmute yourself and remind me if I'm missing you. Roll call on the motion to accept as late files those items.
Councillor Shan. Councillor Wright.
Yes.
Councillor Zeid.
Yes.
Councillor Dennehy.
Yes.
Councillor Granis.
Yes.
Councillor Harmon.
Yes.
Councillor Khan.
Yes.
Councillor McCauley.
Yes.
Councillor Preston.
Yes.
Councillor Cameron.
Yes. In regards to the last two items, what's the wish of the council? Would there be a motion to table those to the next meeting?
Second, but I'll second it anyways.
Wait, point of order, we can't make a decision on table until it's been accepted into the agenda.
Okay. That,
So they could, a councillor could motion to accept them and then
And table it, the same motion.
table it after that. Yeah, you could do that.
Withdraw the motion to table.
okay.
I'll make a motion to accept it into the agenda and table. Both the communication and order, sorry, what was the other number?
735?
735 and
Order
communication.
735 and communication 651.
So motion made by Councillor Preston to accept and table Order 735 and Communication 651. Is there a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Councillor Wright. Okay. So accepting is debatable, tabling is not. It's together, so I don't know if you want a discussion or just vote on it.
Yeah, table is no debate, but
I'm sorry. We're at roll call. Did you have a point of order, Councillor Khan?
yeah,
I want
that's
to
point of
speak
order, so we could bundle that together.
You can bundle it together, but because of the tabling, there's no discussion, let me go right to it.
Okay, but you could do a table and a motion to accept.
Just like you would waive the rules, accept it, and referring it to committee. It's the same.
Okay. Roll call.
Yep, Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zeid?
Yes.
Donahue? Yes. Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon? Yes. Counselor Khan?
No.
Counselor Lynn here. Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion passes, so it's tabled till the next meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you. So that would get us to public comment. If we have public comment in person, and I see at least one hand remotely. If anyone is wishing to speak remotely, if you could please raise your hand now, that would be good. And all right, so remotely it would be, I see Liz, who I presume is Liz Walsh, Beth Trock, and Kristen Farrell. So those would be the remote commenters, but we're going to start with in-person first. So rise to the microphone, your name, address, and up to 2 minutes on a topic on our agenda.
Thank you. My name is Barbara Chambers, and my address is 237 Story Avenue. I've been a resident since 1992, and I love Newburyport. Last year, I joined the Newburyport Commission on Disabilities, and I'm fortunate to work with the incredible volunteer members of the council who are passionate about improving access and information for our citizens and visitors who are otherly able. In watching the city council meeting of June 3rd and in person during last week's budget meeting, I will say that I'm perplexed and sad. This was not their finest hour. The high levels of frustration and utter hostility were evident and palpable on the topic of adding 2 adaptive bicycles for our citizens and visitors who need different equipment. I'm not naive. Clearly, this is spillover from prior meetings on other subjects, including the bike share program. In my opinion, during these 2 meetings, the wrong positions were taken and the wrong questions were asked. As examples, it was stated that this is use of public funds. Yes, they are public funds, obtained from fines collected by those who properly remove handicap spaces throughout Newburyport and specifically designated for the sole purpose of improving the quality of life for those with disabilities, for use to be determined by the National Newburyport Commission on Disabilities. The funds are not, as some might believe, available for general use. The recommendation to park bikes at Market Landing turned into territorial hostility, with some members of the city council stating this the mayor has no authority over Market Landing. Really? Why not ask if there are other locations where the bikes could be parked? The question was asked if the NCM ever considered the purchase and use of adaptive bikes prior to the approval of the bike share program. It is exactly because there will now be a bike share program that we must offer appropriate equipment to those who are otherly able. What question do I think should have been asked? Only one. How do we get to yes? So that we can have a bike share program for all.
Thank you, Barbara. Judy Timon?
Good evening, Judy Tynan, 39 Lime Street, and I'm also speaking about the adaptive bikes. And I do understand the council's concern that the bike share program was presented and voted on so that no public funds would be expended. I respect that, I understand that. I encourage you to look at it from a different perspective. From the perspective of safer streets, the more bikes and pedestrians on our streets, the safer they will be. Newburyport Livable Streets has been working on this for nearly 10 years. And on this bike share program, Rick Tainer and Sheila Tainer in particular have been working around the clock to get this program off the ground. So please, I ask the council to join us in making our streets safer by making more trips available by bike. Even the police department has recently announced Operation Safe Streets to enhance safety on our streets. So let's work together to make this happen. And on another note, I support Rick Tainer and Alden Clark being appointed to the planning board. And on a side note, I am sitting there and I'm not hearing what people are saying. And it might be the hum of the air conditioner. I'm in the room and I can hardly hear people, especially in that part of the room. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and that's helpful feedback. and we'll all use our outdoor voices tonight. And councillors that are remote, if you're experiencing that, which might be even worse remote, please let us know. All right, with that said, we're going to go to remote, and I am going to, Liz Walsh, I'm going to allow you to talk, so again, your name, address, up to 2 minutes on a topic on our agenda. And I think you should be able to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Liz Walsh, 4 Virginia Lane. I am calling to support the amended resolution number 727. I encourage you to vote for it, and even consider adding your name to the voting list of co-sponsors. As the first and only city body to listen and relieve our concerns of injustice done at the Newburyport Library, you voted unanimously to pay for an independent investigation to seek the true facts and ensure that going forward, policies and procedures would be followed. I believe that you spent your legal funds wisely and that you received a thorough, well-documented report of this investigation. Now is the time to make recommendations of how things could work better in the future. Until the city administration recognizes that the library and its archival center have been drastically changed, there will be no improvement. It is important that you make these recommendations. Again, I commend you individually and as a group. You have stood up for what is right against what was very wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. That would lead us to Beth Trock. Beth, I am going to remove Liz Walsh's permission to talk, and Beth, if you could unmute yourself, and up to 2 minutes left. Thank you.
Thank you. I am speaking in support of the purchase of accessible rights. This is an excellent use of funds from funds that will not in any way affect our bottom-line taxpayers. And these rights will include access to our bike trail and downtown areas. They ensure that the bike share is inclusive, not just for our own families, but for every visitor to the resort. So it is seen as our values. Which is like to do, and I hope that we will move beyond the discussion of the past meeting and find a way forward to make this work for everybody so that we can move forward and enjoy our summer and that we all have a fair shake at doing so. Thank you.
Thank you. And that would lead us to Kristen Farrell. Kristen, I'm going to allow you to talk if you can unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you. Council President Cameron, Kristen Farrell, 28 Salford Street. I'm here also to echo my support of the elected bike purchase for Transfer 727 for the Commission on Disabilities Revolving Fund, which is on the purchase of the 2 elected bicycles. I do very much appreciate the time of the Budget and Finance Committee and the conversation that was had there, and that also was circulated with the council at large. And I will go on to answer any other questions as well as I believe some of the other Commission on Disability members are in person and online. So thank you all.
Thank you. That is going to get us to the mayor's comment. And Mayor, I've made you a panelist. And yes, we can hear you. Yep. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so I apologize for being here in person tonight. I want to extend my sincere thanks to everyone involved in the fiscal year 2026 budget and capital improvement plan. Frankly, I see up to those small tasks. We've had a countless hours of analysis, discussion, and collaboration. I deeply appreciate the hard work of department heads, city staff, and especially our city council. I hope to play a vital role in shaping the budget this year, but reflects the needs and priorities of our community. This is a fourth budget that I'm able to submit as mayor. Over those 4 years, we've consistently responsible forward-thinking budgets with minimal reductions. And just real quick, just to remind the public, FY23, $193,000 in cuts. FY24, $95,000 in cuts. FY25, no proposed cuts. And FY26, 421 cuts, which represents just 0.5% of the total budget. The small reductions over the past 4 years is a testament to the thoroughness and care that goes into every budget proposal. Our team has done an outstanding job reaching out the budget that both meet the needs of residents and helps move the report forward. I'd like to offer our special thanks to Finance Director Ethan Manning for his exceptional leadership and dedication to the city as he transitions into his role as Newburyport Public Schools on July 1st. I'm excited to see the impact he will make there as well. We have the last day of school on Friday. We had a wonderful school year here in Newburyport. I want to thank all the Newburyport Public School staff for their dedication to student families. We have a Golden Awards on Friday as well, so I want to congratulate Candy Scuba, Jennifer Shea, and the full team for being honored to celebrate their excellence in teaching. I know how important those awards are. My dad being a former recipient, so it's just really great to be there with them on Friday. And again, I hope all of our students, families, and school staff enjoy a safe, relaxing, and well-deserved summer break. We have 2 big public meetings this week, starting tomorrow night. This is the zoning board of appeals. We'll hold a hearing for the proposed 40B housing development at Port Plaza, the former Kmart site. That is happening at 7 p.m. at the Senior Community Center. This project represents a major step forward in addressing our community's housing needs. It aligns with long-standing city goals to bring rental units to that location. And importantly, will help Newburyport reach safe harbor status under the state affordable housing guidelines in the years to come. As we move forward, attention to detail will be careful, and I'm confident that the ZBA is up to the task. We will carefully weigh every aspect of the proposal to ensure it benefits our city in the long run. On Wednesday night, we have a public meeting, giving an update to the Black School Adaptive Use Project. That's going to be happening at 5:30 Wednesday at the Newburyport Public Library. This is a great opportunity for the neighborhood and just residents to come and hear where we are with this project, hear directly from the developer, and hear what's to come in the coming months regarding that project. But we are certainly moving on in a positive direction, and we look forward to sharing that information with everybody on Wednesday. And finally, I'll just say we did have planned a recreation and youth services center groundbreaking. That was going to be on July 3rd. We decided to cancel that. There were some things we certainly have to work out for the recreation and youth services center, and honestly, right before the 4th of July probably wasn't a good idea from the get-go. So we're going to plan a much larger celebration this fall. So be on the lookout for that. We're looking at probably be around us for September to get that groundbreaking going on this very important project. And that's about it.
Thank you, Mayor. Any comments or questions for the mayor? All right. Seeing none, thank you, Mayor. I'm going to unpanelist you here, although we'd love to have you stay aboard. All right. How do I do that? Okay. All right. That would lead us to the consent agenda.
The consent agenda this evening consists of the approval of the minutes of June 3rd, 3 communications, communication 647, a recurring block party on King Street between Monroe and Merrimack on 6/27 from 5 to 10 p.m. to be received and filed. Communication 648, a letter from Jim McCarthy to request a speed limit on Low Street for public safety. Communication 649, the appointment of the ordinance review committee by the administration to the general government committee of the whole. Appointments, there's appointment 571 for Giovanna Kowalski for a 4,000 drive reappointment as an assistant harbor master, Joppa School special police officer at 2017-2028 for public safety. Appointment 572 is Alden Clark, 15 Lund Street, reappointment to planning board 7/15/2028 at planning and development. Appointment 573, Michael Talbot, 1058 Main Street, Paved Road, assistant harbor master, Joppa School special police officer, for the 732, gift acceptance from the Council on Aging for $2,700. And order 733, gift acceptance from CS Painting for $650. The following are removed from the respective committees to the consent agenda. From Budget and Finance, transfer 277, appointment 563, transfers 222, 223, 224, 226, 225, 228, order 720, order 719, transfer 221, order 726, order 721, communication 637. Community Services, appointment 553, appointment 559, appointment 562, appointment 558, and order 727. From General Government, 3 communications 550, 636, and 640, and orders 709 and 729. License and permits of the following applications coming out: 261, 265, 266, 267, 268, 269, appointment 556, communication 646, and order 672. Public Works and Safety, appointments 554, 555, 565, 566, ordinance 202, 201, and 203. And that is the consent agenda.
What is the wish of the council?
Can we remove application 269 and ordinance 672?
Okay. Up.
Yeah, it's a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended with those withdrawals.
Can you repeat the withdrawals again? So Councillor Wright had 2, and I believe Councillor Shand had 1.
Mine are 269,
It's-
application, the apron, removal signs, Charleston Cocoa. And
Okay.
ordinance 672, the parking fees.
672. I'm sorry, are these out of committee? I'm sorry if I'm a little...
Just removing it from the consent agenda.
Okay. And Councillor Shand?
Mine was appointment 572, Colin Park.
Okay, all right. Could we also add the receiving and filing of the mayor's comment?
Oh, yes, so I'll amend what I said. So motion to approve consent agenda with the items removed and then to receive and file the mayor's comment.
Okay. Any further discussion? Thank you. Roll call?
Councilor Shan? Yes. Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Z?
Yes.
Councilor Cunningham? Yes. Councilor Grant?
Yes.
Councilor Harmon?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes. All right, thank you. That would get us to... Okay, that would get us to the regular agenda, and that would be appointments. We got 570?
So appointment 570 is just the confirmatory for Rick Tainter with the correction of the end date to 7/15/2020. So you'll see that he's under the second reading appointments with the 2030 date, and that's just amending that.
Okay. Is that clear? So the motion would be to approve. Is there a second? Any further discussion? So motion to approve appointment 570, confirmatory.
Councilor Shan? Yes. Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Z?
Yes.
Councilor Cunningham?
Yes.
Councilor Grant?
Yes.
Councilor Harmon?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes. Okay, communications? Oh, I'm sorry.
So again, if I may, communication 650 is a correction to the original appointment of Ray Phelps that came in from, I'm sorry,
Yeah, if people could speak up, I'm even having a hard time hearing.
appointment 572.
Okay.
Motion to approve appointment 572 on first reading tonight.
Second.
This is Alan Parks, who's been on the planning board since 2020. He is the current secretary of the planning board. I think my fellow committee members will agree that he does bring a sense of thoughtfulness and thoroughness in his comments. At the planning board, we have our joint committees, and I would recommend that we just go on and approve him first reading tonight.
Okay, and there was a second. Councillor Khan? Yeah, any discussion? Councillor Wright?
Not to
minimize the qualifications of this candidate, but I think we're getting into the slippery slope here, where we're avoiding our due process in sending these items to committee. I don't think there's any urgency. I don't think there's a quorum issue. So I'm going to be voting no, not based on the qualifications, but based on our process, where I think it should go to committee, be vetted, and follow our normal procedure.
Thank you. And just a point of order, so is the motion to approve it, the whole appointment, or is it to approve? In second reading next meeting, okay. So it's still 2 votes. All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Councilor Shannon? Yes. Councilor Wright?
No.
Councilor Z?
Yes.
Councilor Donovan?
Yes.
Councilor Brandon?
Yes.
Councilor Harmon?
Yes.
Councilor Con?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Now that takes us to communications, and it's communication 650, which is to correct appointment 558, which I believe we have coming out of community services, and that is to correct Ray Phelps, he's a representative from Ward 6, not Ward 3, for the Curtis Vermont.
Motion to receive and file.
Second on that?
Second.
Okay, motion to receive and file Communication 650, appointment of Ray Phelps with the correction to his location, made by Councilor Preston, seconded by Councilor Granis. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Councilor Shannon? Yes. Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Z?
Yes.
Councilor Donovan?
Yes.
Councilor Brandon?
Yes.
Councilor Harmon?
Yes.
Councilor Con?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes. Get us to transfers.
You have one transfer 229, it's the city clerk, free cash, 5,300 to census and dues and subscriptions.
Motion to refer to budget.
So I'd like to make a motion to declare an emergency, waive our rules related to committee items due to the fact that we're approaching year end and that free cash has to be certified by the end of the year. This is a bill that's been, that needs to be settled before
Okay.
our next meeting.
So that's, okay. Motion to approve with emergency preamble?
Emergency preamble.
Okay, and Councilor Zede, you had your hand up. If you need to speak, feel free. So, motion made?
Same motion.
Okay, same motion. And we do have Finance Director Ethan Manning on this, on here, so if there needs to, Ethan, I'll make you a panelist if you would so desire. So Councilor Wright, discussion?
So this bill is to resolve outstanding bills and costs related to the census mailing, voter registration cards that have now been required by the state.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, and Ethan, you're as a panelist now, and I'll remove you at my discretion. You may be needed later, so you can hang out there. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilor Shannon?
Yes.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Z?
Yes.
Councilor Donovan?
Yes.
Councilor Granis?
Yes.
Councilor Harmon?
Yes.
Councilor Con?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes. Okay, thank you. That will get us to second reading appointments.
Appointments, so you have appointment 557.
Report.
Yes.
We've gotten information from the World Wide Web that the transcription for the closed caption is not in English.
It's not on?
It's not in English.
Oh.
I can't even,
All right, we will take a moment and,
there's some sort of,
I swear I didn't do that. Oh, yeah, that's definitely not.
And then captions, language, you want to go English.
Okay, interesting. That's very interesting. Okay. All right, we are now in English. Thank you for over notified us of that. How do I make this, minimize this, I guess is my question. Hide captions, all right. So the captions are, okay, I'm hiding them from our screen because we never look at them on our screen, but I think for people remotely, they can look at them. Okay. That would lead us to second reading appointments.
So your second reading appointments today are appointment 557, Catherine, 356 Each Street, Human Rights Commission, 7/15/2028, appointment 564, retained her, that will be receiving files with the wrong date on that one. So, and then appointment 568, Georgia Reyes, 219 Essex Street, Cultural Council, reappointment to 6/15/2028.
Motion to refer collectively appointments 557, 564, and 568. No?
But these are all these are second readings.
A motion to approve.
Just possible to bundle
Isn't that what it is?
collectively. We just need a vote on them. They've already.
Oh, because, yes, I'm sorry. So, motion to approve appointments 557 and 568 collectively, and receive and file appointment 564.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion? All right. Roll call.
Counselor Shan? Yes. Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Z?
Yes.
Counselor Banniger?
Yes.
Counselor Grandis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes. Thank you. That would lead us to orders.
Orders you have continued from 6/23, order 7/22, a gift acceptance for the local memorial bench of 5,000, order 7/23, gift acceptance for Parks Alliance tree, $850, order 7/24, gift acceptance of Saltbox Financial for $2,193.33, and order 7/25, gift acceptance for Pioneer for $6,000.
Motion to approve collectively orders 722, 23, 24, and 25.
Okay. Made and seconded by Councillor Khan, I believe. Discussion? All right. Hearing none. Roll call on motion to collectively approve orders 722, 723, 724, and 725.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Z?
Yes.
Counselor Banniger?
Yes.
Counselor Grandis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
New orders this evening are order 730 to amend the city council calendar and order 734, grant acceptance for joint hazard incident response team, $12,500.
Motion to refer order 732 general government and order 734 to budget and finance.
Just to, I'll call on myself. I think we could just receive and file the amend city council meeting calendars, the adjustment of one date. If it wants to go to committee, I'm good with that. That's the council's choice.
All right, I will amend my motion to receive and file order 730 and refer order 734 to budget and finance.
Actually, as I'm saying that, it is in order, so.
And I will withdraw.
And I will zip myself. All right. Thank you, Councilor Preston. All right. So,
Friendly, for order 734, friendly motion, yes, is we've been continuing to the date certain for some of the dates.
I don't remember what the sort of,
Order 7.
no, but the cutoff that we've been doing that way, but I will imagine that the chair of budget and finance has this.
Councilor Zede.
Just two comments. One is, I would suggest an approval on order 730, receiving file to actually move the date. Receiving file is probably not the right thing. And because it is internal business, as far as the council calendar, I'm not sure if we need an emergency, but we could if we wish to do it without suspenders. And as far as order 734, it is above the automatic threshold, but I appreciate Council Khan's motion and support it to continue to a date certain 7/14. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zede.
All right, so how about I do this all over again? Motion to approve order 730, and I will look to the clerk as to whether or not we will need an emergency preamble on that. And motion to table order 734 until a date certain, which would be our next council meeting.
July 14th.
July 14th, thank you.
Okay. Everyone clear on the motions and And clerk will use an emergency preamble on the order. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Folks, Councillor Khan?
Yeah, thank you. Is there an emergency? Is it the timing? I'm just wondering, want to make sure that we want to, because we're just amending the calendar, and I know the date is coming up, and I'm trying to find it now. It's, yeah, later in the year, so I'm not sure if we need this emergency preamble on that.
Well, if I think Councillor Zeid's point was to dispose of it in one night, or else we could send it to committee and have it come out.
Can I just speak
yeah.
on that? I mean, I think disposing of it one night versus saying to committee, you know, we talked a little bit before, you know, if something's an emergency preamble, I really want to make sure it demonstrates an emergency, and I think we've been a little loose on that, so I would probably not approve, and I hope my colleagues also understand emergency preamble should be reserved when there really is a critical timing.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Zeid?
Just a friendly suggestion, we could also continue that to July 14th and have the meeting needed too.
Yes, like it.
All right, I will amend my motion to continue to a date certain, order of July 14th, order 730 and order 734. Mighty God.
Fourth time's the charm. Any further discussion? And thank you for working through this procedurally. Roll call?
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zeid?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes. Councillor Zeid, you have your hand raised. We're going to budget and finance, maybe you're
Just ready for budget.
Okay, thank you. Budget and finance.
Okay, sorry, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to offer this new report, but Councilor Ray, that I can confer before, if it's easier for everybody, you can do it if it's better, probably is.
Councillor Wright, do you want to? Okay, either way is what he said.
Go ahead, Councilor Ray, thank you.
So I'd like to have a motion to approve transfer 227, which is the revolving, COD revolving to adaptive bicycles.
Second.
So this appropriation of $9,000 towards two adaptive bikes, the upcoming bike share pilot program. We may discuss this in our 617 meeting and present. We're also the chair of the NCOD, Kristen Farrell. We may discuss the source of funds, which is fines collected from handicap space violations. The bikes are $4,500 each with an estimated maintenance cost of $1,800 per year. The bike care company would care for and install these bikes. The committee discussed the nature of the approval of the bike share and the amendment that no public funds be used. The committee also discussed the locations of the bike share locations, especially at Mark Lane Park. This was referred out to committee with no recommendation.
Okay. Discussion, Councillor Khan?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the report and the update. And yes, as we heard from the public comment too, there was definitely a lot of things talked about, brought up. I think we all know we've been in almost every conversation on the bike share programs. I am very grateful for the fact of the Commission on Disabilities for their involvement, their patience as they talk through on the fines and actually how this fines revolving fund is now over $100,000, and so they have accumulated quite some good amount of money for us, for them to approve projects like something like this. And we got a really good understanding from them on what they have previously spent things on. And this, in their perspective, was a fantastic way to spend money on something that would really include the kind of inclusivity of getting all able folks to be able to do and participate in the bike share program. My point on the public funds discussion that came up, and as we heard in public comment, public funds and their use of public funds was something I think some of my colleagues had brought up. And you know, it's important to recognize that when we did put that requirement or caveat when we approved the bike share pilot program, I think one of the things, and I say this a lot, is that as you put something in and then you start seeing it in fruition and working, you realize, oh, okay, so here's a source of money that is available, and do we really want to lock this up and not be shared here? So for me, I would like us to understand that there needs to be some flexibility, and in hindsight, if I was to go back when we approved the pilot program, I would have allowed flexibility, because why should we make things so much harder for us when they're actually probably a good thing to do? So I would be supporting this transfer from the COD's revolving fund for this effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion, Councilor Preston?
Yeah, thank you. First, I want to say that I am fully supportive of having adaptive bikes. However, the order establishing the bike share program clearly has a provision that stipulates that public funds could not be used for the program. I see no valid argument that the NCOE funds are not public funds. The fact that the council, as a representative body of the people of Newburyport, has to vote to utilize those funds negates any argument that the funds are not public funds. Therefore, the use of the funds to buy bikes would be a breach of the law. It's a minor breach of the law, for sure, but it is still a breach of the law. And as the legislative body, I do not think that we should be breaking our own laws, no matter how minor. I would be fully supportive of the NCOD buying an adaptive bike this year within the threshold of the revolving fund and offering it for free outside the bike share program to families that need an adaptive bike. A transfer for more free use, non-share, because of the stipulation within the bike share, but a transfer for more free, non-use adaptive bikes could be submitted, and we could have several for next summer. Alternatively, someone could make a motion, could submit something to amend the bike share order to remove the provision banning the use of public funds, and then the NCOD would be available to do that. But because this is breaching the law, and a law that we, this body, made, and we are the legislative body, I cannot support this, but I do hope that the NCOD would consider buying an adaptive bike within their threshold and utilizing it for free.
Okay, Councilor Zede, and then Councilor Shand, and then Councilor Donahue.
I just wanted to offer the information that I found over the last couple of days. I requested the contract with the bike share vendor from DPS. I discovered that we are slated to start the bike share program with 23 bikes, but they stated that typically the number of bikes needed for a successful program is in the 30 to 60 range. So unfortunately, we're not meeting that bare minimum. And what was interesting was that the price proposal from the vendor, they offered adaptive bikes, and the adaptive bikes were turned down because one adaptive bike would quote cost for non-adaptive bikes. And so I am curious as to why we couldn't just start with 15 bikes of the non-adaptive variant, and then 2 bikes of the adaptive variant fit within the same existing contract. And they went back to the answer of, well, 30 to 60 is considered the minimum number of bikes required for a successful program based on other communities, which still does not make sense to me, as we still are not starting with 30 bikes, we're starting with 23, and they're still working with a $22,000 gap in the budget. So I just wanted to offer that for your information. If anybody would like to have a copy of that, I'm happy to forward it or send it to the clerk and have it posted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Shand.
Thank you, Council President. So I was looking at, I don't think we're breaking any laws here. I'm reading Chapter 40 of Mass General Law, Section 22G. Funds received from fines for handicap parking violations, deposits, and account expenditures. So any city or town which has accepted the provisions of Section 8J, which is we've established a Commission on Disabilities, is hereby authorized to allocate all funds received from fines assessed for violations of handicap parking in said city or town to the Commission on Disabilities. Funds so received shall be deposited by the city or town treasurer in a separate account and shall be solely used for the benefit of persons with disabilities. Said account shall be established by the city or town treasurer and shall be kept separate apart from all of the monies. Expenditures from said account include accrued interest, if any, shall be made upon the recommendation of the Commission on Disabilities in accordance with the accepted procedures of the city or town for the disbursement of funds, including the approval of the mayor and city council or town manager or board of selectmen. The city or town accountant shall submit annual reports of said account to the mayor and city council or the town manager and board of selectmen. Said report shall be forwarded to the Bureau of Accounts. So what we're doing here is just basically saying what the Council on Disabilities is recommending is legal. It is something that is going to benefit the people with disabilities of this community. I don't see us breaking the law here. This is Chapter 40, Section 22G. So I think the disbursement of $9,000 at the recommendation of the Council on Disabilities is well within their right.
Thank you. Councillor Donahue, and then Councillor McCauley had his hand up, then Councillor Granis, and we'll get back to Councillor Zede, I think, raised your hand. So, Councillor Donahue?
Yes, thank you. So a few things I just wanted to sort of clarify, I guess, make comments on. Just one point I want to make clear is that the reason that the Disability Commission is not able to purchase just, one bike this year with the funds is because they've already maxed out their expenditures for this year. So given that their maximum amount they're allowed to spend before they have to come to the council for permission is $7,500, a pretty low number considering what's in their coffers at this point. It has not been, changed in a while. So because they've already maxed out that $7,500, that's why they're coming to us for an ask to spend more of their money. And I say that because it is their money to solely discern what is needed for the community people with disabilities. That is literally their job. It is, as described by the Average Council by WJOP, it's what their prescribed job is for us as a body to make those approvals. It is per their recommendation. So having said that, couple other points. So the reason that 2 bikes is kind of part of the package is that you really can't offer just the one in the event that the person that has the disability is requiring someone to assist them in tandem. And because those bikes can only be in tandem together, not with a regular bicycle, that's why they want to purchase 2. Thirdly, the Disability Commission, for everyone's edification, in case you don't know, I did chair this commission for nearly 10 years, so I hope, some semblance of deference is understood. I more than anyone understand what comes before the Commission on Disabilities, what they ask to pay over the years, what types of things come their way. This falls right in line with everything that has come their way in terms of benefiting the community people with disabilities. There's some bigger projects that they would love to tackle. They have funds that accumulated to the point that they can now maybe visit a real sort of CIP approach to how they spend their funds. But this is a very small gesture for them to want to make a program inclusive that should be. And they explained early why it came to be their decision to want to purchase the bikes, to own the bikes, to have single bikes, and regardless of what happens with the program, we still get to offer that to the community, moving forward, should anything not work with the program in previous time. So, I'll yield with that, but I appreciate everyone's support.
Thank you. Councillor McCauley, and then we'll have Councillor Granis, and then Councillor Zede.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes.
Thank you. I still, so I am supportive of what the NCOD is trying to do in trying to purchase these bikes, but I have some challenges here. So in the past, NCOD has made some recommendations to use their funds to enhance some traffic signals, add additional curb cuts, etc., contribute to intersection improvements, things like that. Very, very worthwhile and public things here. I have 2 challenges, though, with this particular request in for the bike share. First of all, private money becomes public money. Let me tell you something. First of all, let me just say, from bike share, the approach of the bike share agreement, this was proposed
by a private organization to run a service in public realm. And they wanted us, the public, the city, to actually run the program for them and administer it going forward. So it does become a public entity that this is right now, that the city, DPS, contacts with the DPS, is actually going to actually have to oversee the vendor, et cetera, along the way to be able to run this program. And so we've now crossed over from private into public along the way. We have, and in our original discussion, we talked about the public, if the city's going to run this is now resources and time and money that we're not allocating back to the private entity, and that was our donation to the program itself. The caveat to that was that no future public funds would be part of this. This leads to my second point that, we previously, there's a whole bunch of gift acceptances that we've accepted over the past few months. And what that happens there is that very private money becomes public money, and it becomes very visible, and it has to follow the same rules of procurement, it has to follow the same rules of appropriation, and all of those things going forward. This is no different. So this is, in a way, this is the NCM's funds. They have a source of funding. They are choosing to use their city funds, city appropriated funds, for a recommendation. However, I haven't been convinced, and the arguments haven't convinced me, that while it is NCOD able to make a recommendation, that these are not public funds. They are. And they're subject to appropriation. They're subject to the same rules and regulations along the way. I do wish we could get to a different solution on this, but until we can, I'm going to vote against using public funds for this, with the idea that I do believe that we can, I know that the Avalanche Councillor, the Avalanche Council has made a recommendation to try and get to a compromise, and I would be supportive of something like that. But as of right now, I haven't been convinced that these are not public funds. I will be consistent with what we talked about previously before. And again, I'm supportive of the right programs, and I'm supportive of the NCFD's recommendation of those things. It's just the approach that they've taken at this particular time isn't convincing me that we're following our agreements that we've had. And yes, it is city order. So thank you.
Okay, Councilor Granis, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. I do rise in support of this transfer. The NCD revolving funds, they are clearly city funds. However, this revolving fund is there to support specific departmental programs and activities. These funds are distinct from the general operating budget as well. It's my feeling that these adaptive bicycles are imperative to allowing those with disabilities to be included in this bike share program for both residents and visitors alike. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Zede, and then Councilor Wright has not, well, we'll do Councilor Wright, Councilor Preston, Councilor Brown here. Councilor Zede?
I just wanted to comment additionally that I agree with the at-large councillor that there's no issue with the Mass General Law chapter and verse that was read. I think it's clear that is not the issue in play here. The issue in play is that we passed an order, and in that order we made a condition, and the order carries the force of law, and that's where the question mark comes in as far as the use of the funds. For me, just stepping back or up, whichever direction you prefer, I think it's just the same kind of discussion we've been having over the last several months, which is there's always a longer term, bigger sort of picture to all of these things. And the bigger picture here is how do you make compromise, and then how do you stick to that compromise so that you can have compromise again in the future. And I really am uncomfortable with the idea that you can sort of just undo it. One councillor stated they had some regret about the caveat, as it was called, that was placed on it. And that's okay. Things do change and things happen, but we have a process. And if you want to undo the prohibition on public funds, you can do that. You can do it by order, and then you can proceed. I can't personally support that because while we're really admired in the need for these specific adaptive bikes. Frankly, the entire bike share program is a bit superfluous when you think about all the needs of the city, and we had that exact same argument on how important is a bike share to the city. And I understand that some may work hard towards it on an individual level, but here we are coming off of a week with a difficult budget, and we're tasked with looking at the city as a whole, and I think that's why the prohibition of public funds carried the day back then. And so I'm just nervous, as we always do, that we keep just saying, well, next time we'll just make the same compromise, and then people will be surprised when the compromise doesn't pass the first time around, and that's the implication. I yield.
Thank you. So we've, Councillor Harmon, you have not spoken yet. If you want to go, and then we'll have.
I'll keep my comments narrowly focused on the matter at hand. I don't want to relitigate the bike share. I went back and watched the meeting when we approved, November 25th, I believe, the bike share originally, and the amendment that was proposed that we approved. The language which sort of landed in writing was no public funds. The motioner suggested words no free cash, no general fund dollars, no CPA dollars, which I would stand by today. What I do see as the nuance here, which I respect my colleagues do not have to see that nuance like I do, is that this is an investment that the Commission on Disabilities is in their right to make in order to participate in what is now a pilot program that is just happening in the city. Were they paying for concrete or bike racks or other elements of this program that were not specific to the Commission on Disabilities and their charter and legal obligation to find solutions to create more accessibility, then I think this would be different. And so I just want to say that I've tried to really understand the spirit of what we approved in terms of no public funds, and I do see this as something that is different. So I will continue to support this, and I hope that my colleagues will join me. Thank you.
Thank you. So Councillor Wright, Councillor Preston, and Councillor Donahue.
Council President, through the Ward 1 Councillor, we were seeing the contract. I'd like to ask what the contract states about the estimated maintenance costs. In my opinion, $1,800 a year for a $4,500 bike is exorbitant. It basically replaces the bikes every 3 years. So I'd like to know the answer to that, if that's in the contract.
And this is directed to the Chair of Budget and Finance, or the
Chair of Budget and Finance.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Councillor Z, did you hear that? You're muted.
To answer the question, the best I can do on the fly is that the $1,800 per bike per year was offered to the committee in testimony. I don't have the price proposal right in front of me in terms of what it says specifically. I'm happy to try and look at that as other speakers speak, but the $1,800 figure per bike per year was offered in committee by the Chair of Disabilities Commission in their research and exploration, and I'll be happy to look at this as the conversation continues.
Okay. Okay, Councillor Preston, then Councillor Donahue.
Yeah, so I just want to rise to sort of discuss some of the things that have come up. So I do not disagree that the NCOD makes recommendations on how to spend the funds in their revolving account, and that this transfer is compliant with NGO. However, there are really only two options here. The money is either private or it's public, and it's very hard to argue that it's private money if it's here and we're discussing it. And especially given that it is within the revolving account of a committee that is part of the city of Newburyport. So I stand firmly that these are public funds. And it is against our laws, as per written in this particular order, to spend public funds on this particular use. And therefore it is still, in my opinion, a breach of law. However, having said all of that, I welcome the NCOD to come forward to buy as many bikes as they see fit, but should it be used for a free use program, i.e. not the bike share? That is the compromise workaround that we really can get to on this. And there are two ways to do that. If I were tonight using this transfer, if we were to take these bikes and then associated money of the transfer of the bike share program, I would very happily move my vote to a yes on this. Alternatively, what could happen is someone could sponsor an amendment to the original order, which would take out this provision around the lack of ability to use public funds for this particular piece. But, you know, I do think that the compromise, the easy position forward here is to just take them out of the bike program, the bike share program, have them available to anybody who would like to use them. These, you know, the $9,000 would cover 2 bikes here. They could submit for more beyond that as well, and I would happily do that. If my concern here is the fact that we wrote a law that has a provision that says public funds should not be used. In my opinion, these are not private funds, therefore they have to be public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Donahue?
Thank you, President. Yes. I do stand corrected in my comments earlier this month that they're not public funds. Clearly, they're not private, but I think that there is a very, very vital piece that needs to be stated in that. These funds are public, but they are extremely restricted. Encumbered funds, they are restricted, they're heavily restricted. They're not in any way like any other public funds. So I think that's where the distinction really needs to be understood, in that, you know, while I appreciate what's been pointed out by the other council, that there was in our order and in the bike share ordinance that, you know, no public funds should be spent. It's been suggested that we revisit an amendment, you know, to that. But, you know, to the board council's point, I don't believe that when the amendment was suggested for no public funds to be spent, that heavily restricted, only decided by the Disabilities Commission for the Disability, you know, Community funds be part of that. I think that in my heart, I do feel the genesis was no taxpayer dollars, no CPA, no free cash, the things that we typically see come before us as public fund requests. This may be public funds, but it is very restricted. It's just, it can't be, there is that delineation. So I beg that you make that decision. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion. Hearing none. Roll call.
Councillor Shan? Yes. Councillor Wright?
No.
Councillor Z?
No.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granish?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
No.
Councillor Preston?
No.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
6 yes, 4 no, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. Budget and Finance. Thank you.
Motion to approve appointment 563 for Amy Sorrow as the Director of Finance, City Auditor, to return the term of 7/15/2028.
Second.
So, as everyone knows, the current Finance Director is moving to a new position, which has created this vacancy. Ms. Sorrow appeared before the committee on June 17th. She discussed her experience as the Finance Director in the town of Swampscott. She also concurrently, for a period, served as the Human Resource Director. She described how she works with the select board and also regularly appears before town meeting. In the course of both, she explained how she prepares and presents information to help everyone make the best decisions. The committee explored the candidate's thoughts on things like free cash and other items. The committee made a recommendation to approve this appointment 3-0.
Thank you. Further discussion? Okay. Councillor Khan?
Yeah, great. I thank you. I believe you have them here as well. So for those who are not able to come to our committee meeting, definitely want to welcome this candidate. I was really in Budget and Finance Committee with Ethan, our Director Mandy there too, as well as the candidate here who will be appointing. It was really nice to kind of see the kind of almost the differences, what's kind of unique that might be brought in, versus also knowing that we're really lucky Director Manning is not going far from the city, so there's always going to also be a natural kind of synergy of our two departments between the city and the schools being able to also have some communication is what I'm really hopeful for. But I will be supporting this candidate for the director of finance. I was someone who kind of plotted a little bit about, how do you just deal coming from a town versus a city, and really it does come down to how the councillors are versus in a, with the select board over in Swampscott or any scenario are typically the ones that they will report to, and we are seen as like the ones to kind of present everything to, but there's a gray area of coordination, and I think it's a fresh perspective on really how we can work well with our finance director, given their background coming from a place where they really had to wear so many different hats, but also how to present the information for these different audiences. So, so I will definitely be supporting, and I'm very grateful and thank you that you said no.
Welcome. Further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, seeing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan? Yes. Councillor Ray?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Demian?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes. Congratulations, welcome. You have to stay all night now? Thank you. You don't have to, but be nice if you did. No, you don't. Thank you so much, and welcome aboard.
Motion to approve transfer 222, which is a free cash transfer to snow and ice deficit. This is the transfer for free cash to snow and ice in the amount of $280,148.16. In the 2024-26 season, the city overspent its snow and ice budget. DPS Director Amaral appeared and explained that snow and ice events are expensive, and the use of salt is especially expensive, and that drove costs for the year. The finance director stated that no further funding sources seem applicable. The committee made a recommendation to approve this transfer 3-0.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Transfer 222, snow and ice deficit. Seeing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan? Yes. Councillor Ray?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Demian?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve transfer 223.
Second.
So this is a transfer from free cash to fire overtime and professional certification. The free cash was the only source considered for this transfer. $50,000 is going towards fire overtime. And the need for this expenditure was driven by some injuries in the department and shift coverage that was needed throughout the year. The remaining $22,000 was for professional certifications. Recently, a new firefighter contract proposed by the mayor and approved by the city council. Part of it included new stipends for professional certification. The amount estimated for this was low, and now that it's been formally calculated, an additional $22,000 being to balance. The committee asked if the budget amount for the next year would be sufficient, and the answer was most likely it would not be. And a similar amount or more would be needed to add to that line at some point. The committee made a recommendation to approve this transfer 3-0.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, transfer 223, free cash to fire overtime and pro certification, professional certifications. Roll call.
Councillor Shan? Yes. Councillor Ray?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Demian?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve transfer 224.
Second.
This is a free cash, combination of free cash and police accounts to pay for police electricity maintenance for $32,900. Marshall Simons appeared before the committee. The transfer is $32,900 from free cash, and then a few different line items from the police department to police electricity and maintenance. The monies are available because in part it's free cash and the other lines have a little bit of unspent funding. Ammunition has a little bit left over only because taser cartridges are not being purchased this year as the tasers are going to be replaced. In terms of electricity and maintenance, the electricity was simply under budgeted and maintenance stemmed from a repair very early in the fiscal year. They have the HVAC that had been done as an emergency. The committee made a recommendation to approve this 3-0.
Thank you. Any further discussion? So roll call on transfer 224.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Donovan?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve transfer 226.
Right.
This is a free cash to insurance, consulting services, and City Hall for $92,600. This is a transfer from free cash to municipal insurance, consulting services, and maintenance of City Hall. In terms of each item, the insurance was higher because our premiums had gone up, largely due to claims that we've had to file. Most recently was a $500,000 plus claim when the fire road sank a few years ago. The committee asked what the trajectory of premiums is going to be, and generally the answer was higher, but that in time, large claims will fall our record, hopefully leading to some temporary. Consulting services was for $12,000, largely for an appraisal of ground school that was done as part of that process. Lastly, maintenance of City Hall had extra testing for mold and air quality that the city's insurance did not cover and that the city had to pay for. The work is now stated to be completed and any remaining personnel are expected to go back to their offices soon. The committee made a recommendation to approve this transfer 3-0.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call on transfer 226.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Donovan?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve transfer 225.
Second.
So this is a transfer from sewer retained earnings to biosolids disposal, plant chemicals, $250,000. So this is a transfer of $250,000 from the sewer retained earnings to biosolids disposal and chemicals. In terms of biosolids, Director Arnold stated that this was a tough number, but not surprising. They did go out to bid and received only one bid. While they worked with that bid, the cost was still higher than budgeted for. The transfer is needed to cover. In terms of chemicals, the costs have just increased markedly for everyone, and the additional $90,000 is needed to cover. The final pricing was not available when this budget was set. The committee made a recommendation to approve this transfer 3-0.
Thank you. Any further discussion on transfer 225? Hearing none, roll call.
Councillor
Sorry, Councilor McCauley, yeah, go ahead. Councilor.
Yeah, so, thank you very much. I really have a comment for Budget and Finance Committee and for all of us, that when we approve this, and I am in support of this because we're cleaning up school budget, budget items, but when we approve this, I just want to note that we will have spent an additional $727,000 over last year's budget. Dollar amount. So these were expenses that weren't foreseen. These were expenses that came in during the year, but they also are needed to clean up the books before we can turn the page at the end of the month. So when we approve this, I just want to reiterate that we are now $727,000 over last year's budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call on transfer 225.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Donovan?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to receive and file transfer 228.
Second.
This is a request from Recreational Services Revolving Fund to the Perkins Park
shade structure. This request was withdrawn by the administration. So we're recommending approval to receive and file 3-0.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? So the motion on transfer 228 is to receive and file. Roll call?
Counselor Shannon?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Z?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granish?
Yes.
Counselor Harman?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve Order 720. So this is a increase for the fiscal year 25, revolving fund spending limit increase. This is particular to the increase to the solid waste limit from $105,000 to $150,000. The rationale provided is that some costs have increased, and as a result, spending is expected to be a bit higher than the limit. The fund is actually expected to spend more like $125,000 for the fiscal year that's just ending. $150,000 was recommended because that is the same recommendation as the outcome of this. The committee made the recommendation to approve this transfer 2-1 with Councillor Z being the dissenting vote.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call on 720, sorry. Thank you.
Counselor Shannon? Yes. Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Z?
No.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granish?
Yes.
Counselor Harman?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve Order 719. So these are the FY26 revolving fund spending limits. See how we did that? Time machine. 2026. So this is to set the spending limits for funds in FY26. While the funds are set by ordinance and do not need to be established every year, the spending limits do need to be set annually. Limits are proposed to remain the same, except for a $5,000 increase to the Council on Aging, $50,000 increase to Recreation and Youth Services, $4,000 increase to Animal Control, $10,000 increase to Senior Community Center Maintenance, $10,000 increase to Parks Maintenance, and $45,000 increase to Solid Waste. The reasons given are Council on Aging is driven by programming and fluctuates. Recreation and Youth Services always goes up because of the increase in costs to provide programs. Animal Control because of projected expenses such as fixing up the kennel. Senior Center because of money comes in for events and then is spent for care of the building, so alignment to be expected. Parks Maintenance because fees are providing more revenue and opportunity to do more. And finally, Solid Waste for the budget. They will be paying some salaries from this in FY26, although it is anticipated that this is not sustainable. The committee discussed whether the council COP's limit should be increased, and this could be looked at in the future. That's the council miscellaneous. Also discussed section 2-394 about spending capital from revolving funds. The committee made a negative recommendation to approve this transfer. The vote to recommend approval was 1-2, with both Councillor Z and myself dissenting.
Okay, so the motion which was made and seconded is to approve this order, 719. And Councillor McCauley, you have your hand up.
I do. I'm going to rise in opposition to this. I was in favor of raising them in 2025 because there was a articulated need in committee. There was no articulated need. The logic was simply that, well, we should move them up just in case they need the money going forward. And when we looked at each one of the line items and budgets, they didn't necessarily need this increase in funds. The largest being rec services, their balance is considerably less this year. I think spending down things along the way. But it's the same for every department that is looking for an increase. They simply are. It's kind of an administrative thing to make sure that they're constantly growing. So I oppose that immediately, but secondarily, it's not that we're starving them of this. This is their spending limit, that if they need to go all they simply need to do is come before us and make a request to transfer from the revolving account to there. There's nothing more than that, and I think we've been pretty expeditious in handling transfers when they've been brought forward to us going forward. So I am concerned that we're raising these limits. These are spending limits that they have oversight from the administration, they don't have oversight from the council going forward. So again, I support 25, but I will rise in opposition to 26 changes going forward. Thank you.
Councillor Shandon, Councillor Khan.
Thank you, Council President. Just maybe to the director, but to the chair of Budget and Finance, was there a question asked, or did they give an example of when the council did not act quickly enough that these limits were warranted? Just curious.
Councillor Zede, if you could.
No examples were provided to answer the question directly. I will say, having been on a shared budget for a while, we have historically made a number of adjustments towards the end of the fiscal year to bump up limits, to various revolving funds over the years. So if that's any indication or helpful to you, that's what we've done in the past. But no specific examples were given. As the Board of Health Council mentioned, it is certainly possible to come in and request permission to spend beyond the limit or to change the limit, as was just not in the prior order. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Khan.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. I supported this, and I think part of it is if people could see like what the change is and I thought my colleague on the Budget and Finance Committee did a good job kind of walking through where some of those changes are, animal control and Council on Aging. Rec services we've seen, and that seems to sometimes be the one we probably have the most eyes on, because there tends to be the request and then a lot of movement because of their funding as large as it is, and how it's actually being used for summer programming, for staffing during that time. However, some of the others, I will point out, actually, while folks are looking at the table, Disabilities Commission that we just talked about, the $7,500 limit, did not get proposed to change. But that's because our eyes are a little bit more on that because of this more recent conversation we had on, what they have in the revolving fund and their limit. And one thing that I think folks should see that you don't see is the spending limits here, but not the amounts that they have. So that's in our budget books, and I think that's really worth getting folks looking at, because if we're not spending some of this down, we're really just carrying and growing these funds. I also look to see how often I have to increase them, especially the ones that are here, and it's been a while since some of these have gone up. So while we didn't have the individual people from each of these kind of representative revolving funds, I definitely think that this is somewhat modest for many of them. The biggest one to me is services at $50,000, but for the most other ones, it to me is worth approving to get those up, and then recognize when are we increasing them and what are the reasons for it. And if there's really, if we're just kind of saying they should just stay the same and everyone needs to come before us, I do worry what does that limit in capability, because like I said, some of these funds are exceedingly high when they're currently current. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right. Councillor Granis.
So real quick, I know I'm not allowed to direct questions to my colleagues, but
Well, you can do it through the chair. And
okay. It does seem like we're not necessarily denying funds outright to different departments and commissions. They're just coming to us to ask for additional funds when needed. So I'm not sure the need to increase the spending limit for the next fiscal year, because we're not, again, it's not that council denying funding requests of these departments, commissions need to come in and just explain themselves to them. So if someone could explain to me why this is imperative, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
okay, rhetorical question. Anyone else can answer that? And we do have the finance director here. Councillor Zede has his hands, both his real hand and his virtual hand up. Councillor Zede.
To answer the question, revolving funds are now created by ordinance. So if you were to refer to our municipal code, you'll find the definition of each of these funds. The department head owner or the group that owns and has jurisdiction over the fund, and the purpose of the fund funds is basically defined in the ordinance, and different funds have different sources. For example, the senior community maintenance fund takes in monies from events that are held there, and people pay a fee towards it. So there's no limitation, of course, on how much can come in. And then on the way out, of course, it's at the discretion of the owner of that, revolving fund, as long as it's consistent with the purposes of the fund. And as we discussed in committee, it doesn't break a threshold that's in the ordinance, making it a capital expenditure. The capital expenditure would have to come before the council, and there's a definition in the municipal code specifically for a capital expenditure. So what does the spending limit really do? What it does is it gives them that ability to spend under that definition and under that roll up until they hit that limit. And if that limit needs to be exceeded, then there are two options. One is the specific expenditure can come before the council, sort of like a transfer, is how I would think about it, or an order can come in simply increasing the limit, and that's what we just saw with the solid waste fund for FY25. We're 7 days out, we just increased the limit for those 7 days, and then if this carries, it would carry through to the next year. So no, it's not a hard stop saying, this you cannot spend. It's simply changing the process by which it could occur.
Thank you. Councillor Preston?
Yeah, really briefly, I just want to say that I think the councillor from Ward 3's logic is really sound, and for that very same reason, I, before had intended to not be supporting this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? Just for my clarification, Councillor Z, do you still have your hand up? Yep. Go ahead.
I just want to state that we do have an obligation here to pass something because we need to set annual spending limits for FY26. So, reading the tea leaves as best as one can remotely. If the will of the council is not to pass this as it is, then I would suggest that we amend it to return the limits back to where they were and simply pass it, to maintain essentially the same limits as were held in FY25. And the council, I suppose, can debate whether it wishes to change the solid waste one to the 150. Anything can go, but something has to go. We cannot leave this without having no limit set.
Okay, so is that an amendment to modify the order so that the spending limits for 26 are the same as 25? Or just some?
I would be happy to offer that motion with the exception that we do bump up the solid waste to 150.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And if I may just offer a rationale for that.
Okay.
Again, we have an obligation to pass something. As far as the solid waste, I just want to be transparent. It's not something I directly support because I simply don't. But in the context of the FY budget that we just passed last week, we effectively agreed to fund some positions out of this revolving fund, and I think we have to be consistent with what we did last week. So that would be an amendment to at least test the waters to see where the support is, so we can get something passed this evening.
Okay, so the motion was made to essentially level fund the spending limits with the exception of solid waste, which would increase by the $45,000. Is that correct? And that was seconded by Councillor Preston. Okay, discussion on the motion to amend. Okay, hearing none, roll call on the motion to amend.
Councillor Shan? Yes. Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
No.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes. Okay, so motion to amend passes 9-1. We have the whole motion still on the floor, and there was a motion to accept that.
Motion to approve as amended.
Okay. Motion made to approve as amended, made by Councillor Wright, seconded by Councillor Preston. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan? Yes. Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
No.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Motion to receive and file transfer 221. So this was a general fund free cash transfer to Whittier Tech for the feasibility study. administration has notified us that this request is no longer needed at this time because Whittier intends to ask for its design fund in next year's assessment, similar to how they asked for some capital funds in this year's application. There is context of this that Whittier needed a letter from all 11 communities by July 1st for requirement of the MSBA. Per a recent communication from the mayor, it is this letter has been signed. The committee did not make a recommendation as it was not discussed again, but per chair, as this is mute and feedback should be freezing shortly, it's up for consideration for a receiving file.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion to receive and file transfer 221 regarding Whittier Tech feasibility? You can tell I work in Roxbury, Massachusetts. Council Preston?
Yeah, sorry, now I'm wishing I had watched the recording of this particular one, so I'm a little bit lost. And I just want to be absolutely certain that we no longer need this to be in compliance with the wishes of MSDA.
I believe we'll still need it, but it's just being pushed back into their MSBA proposal and incorporated in that funding request.
Thank you. And we have Councillor Seed raising his hand, and we'd certainly welcome any input from Director Manning if so. Councillor Seed?
Right. So the MSBA specific requirement to enter the feasibility stage in this round was that letter to be signed by the 11 communities, specifically in the case of the city by the executive of the city, which of course would be the mayor. So that was the only formal requirement put forward by MSBA. In an effort to have some conversation, the administration submitted this $160,000 transfer from free cash to give us an opportunity to discuss, which was appreciated. We did have a conversation about it some time ago. We didn't come to any specific conclusion. And what has changed in the meantime is two things. One is, again, my understanding is that the letter has been signed by not just Newburyport, but the other 10 communities. And I haven't seen the exact letter, but to my understanding, the letter basically states that, there's an understanding that the agreement needs to have some modification to it in some way. It's nondescript as to what the actual change is, and that there is a commitment towards this process. And so having had that signed, that is part one. And then part two was, rather than asking for the funds at this time as sort of a quote, let's call it a special assessment by the Whittier School District, rather they will simply include this in their request for funds next year. If you recall in the budget from last week, we had about an $87,000 increase. Some of that was from a change in tuition for students attending, but the bulk of it was because they asked for a little bit of capital money towards their existing building. So you should expect the same next year in the FY27 budget that you would have. In the budget book, Whittier would have an increase of $160,000, assuming that number holds, plus whatever the variations in tuition are, and we will have another discussion at that time. I do think there are some nuanced differences in asking for it in that way, but at the moment, this specific transfer is not needed. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Just one quick thing to add. When Councillor Z was referring to the agreement, he was referring to the regional agreement. So there's an agreement to talk about the regional agreement as part of this process.
Councillor Harmon?
Thank you. To further clarify, it is not to revise the regional agreement. The belief is that with this new structure, it is a completely different school. We will start with a blank piece of paper. All communities will have to sign on to whatever that new agreement is.
Okay. Councillor Preston, you look like you want to put your hand up. Okay. All right. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, motion is to receive and file transfer 221. Roll call.
Councillor Shannon?
Yes.
Councillor Ray?
Yes.
Councillor Z?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve order 726. So this is the municipal fee schedule for fiscal year 2026. So this is the annual update to the municipal fee schedule, which appears in our code in one aggregated section. It was amended in committee to add within 3 feet on page 6 of the fee schedule alongside driveway alleyways. This amendment was made to synchronize or homogenize with the proposal that's before public works and safety. Other than it is as proposed. As proposed, yeah. The water sewer rates in here are consistent with what the council passed in our budget. The committee recommended approving this order 3-0.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Zede, hand is up.
Well, I just have two things. One is the majority of these are just codifying fee changes that we've already made throughout the year, so this can be consistent with those changes. And the second is I'd like to make a motion to amend on the page where it says I/I fee, which is, I apologize, page 174 of the packet, if you're on the digital version, but it's I fee under sewer connection fees. The fee is $300. The amendment is after the words I fee in parentheses to add the phrase per bedroom.
Second.
So, thank you for the second. Just to clarify, I had some communications today with the DPS director, and we were going back and forth about this I fee. This I fee has existed for a long time. I stands for infiltration, and I've already forgot the second I, but it's basically a sewer fee that's collected when new bedrooms are developed, and it's been around for a very long time. For some reason, it did not appear here in this municipal fee schedule, and the amendment is specifically just to clarify that it's not $300 in total. It is indeed $300 per bedroom, and I'm sure that's something that merits further study in the future. But for now, just getting it correctly here is, I hope, advisable. That's the reason for my motion.
Thank you. And that motion seconded by Councillor Preston, I believe. Okay, further discussion on that? So is this on the amendment, or is this on the whole? Okay, on the amendment. All right. Ethan Manning.
Just to point of order, the IIP should be $330 per bedroom.
Okay, should be 300. Okay. Thank you. 330? It says 300. Yeah, page 170, excuse me. So just on page 174, it does say about whole packet.
We have building burdens. We have building burdens.
There's sewer connection, which is 300, and there's customer service charges paid for each.
Let's make sure we're looking at the right thing, because...
So it's the same fee listed twice in the rate.
Yes.
Okay, well, could you, so in our packet, page 1...
Page 173 has it listed correctly at $330.
Okay.
With an underline to show that it's a new fee.
Correct,
If you go to the
yeah.
next page, it's repeated as a fee in the sewer connection fees, but it doesn't indicate that it's a change.
Okay. So this should say 330 in both places, and it should say per bedroom in both places.
Yes.
All right.
So moved.
Thank you. It's a friendly.
Friendly, okay. So accepted by the motioners. Okay. Any discussion on the overall? So it was accepted as a friendly amendment, and we'll make sure, especially with the finance director on, that we get the right thing into our code. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve Order 721.
Second.
So this is the animal control intermunicipal agreement.
You have to vote on that first.
I'm sorry, Councillor
I'm
Wright.
sorry, you have to vote to pass. You voted on the amendment, now you have to vote.
Well, I
It
took
was
the
a
amendment
friendly-
as a friendly amendment.
But you voted, you had a friendly amendment on Councillor Z's amendment.
Okay.
To add that, and now you need to vote on the entire
Okay.
package all together.
We'll go with the clerk's call on that. All right, so roll call on the overall order 726. Thank you, clerk.
Councillor
Sullivan.
Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Oh, Stephanie Niconet.
All right, Councilor, we're ready now. Thank you.
Thank you for keeping us on the straight and narrow. Order 721, motion to approve.
Second.
So this is the long-standing relationship with the animal control agreement between the City of Newburyport and the town of West Newbury for animal control. This is just a one-year extension of the current agreement with no other changes. The reason for not having a 3-year agreement, which is typical, is that this contract for some of the employees that are covered is currently under negotiation, and both communities agreed that a 1-year extension would offer time for that to settle before a subsequent 3-year agreement was signed off on. It was noted by the finance director that West Newbury was inquiring into logs, etc., to understand how the animal control officer's time was being spent. The committee recommends approval of this order 3-0.
Thank you. Councilor Wright, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis? Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to receive and file communication 637. So this is the Whittier Tech approved budget. As it's part of our city budget, with Whittier's allocation is part of that, and we have adjudicated that. We recommend that this be received and filed.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Motion to receive and file communication 634. Roll call, please.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
I'm happy to announce that that's it for budget and finance this evening.
We'll get your encore with licenses and permits.
Just to be noted that the committee will meet again, it's scheduled for July 10th, unless there's no need for any business to be conducted.
Thank you, Councillor Zede and Wright, for working us through that. That would lead us to community services. Councillor Preston.
Yes, motion to approve appointments 553 and 562, which are both appointments to the Council on Aging.
Second.
Thank you. So appointment 553 is Ralph Orlando. Ralph introduced himself to the committee by letting us know that he has volunteered for many years, including being on the building committee for the Bresnahan School. He has recently retired and would like to get back to the community, and he feels that his 20 years in healthcare experience would lend well to the Council on Aging. The committee voted 3-0 to recommend the approval of his appointment. Appointment 562 is for Elaine Paglia. Ms. Paglia was also present. She told us that she has served on the Council on Aging for 4 years and has been chair for the last 3. She's very proud of their accomplishments in the projects, many projects that they are working on, including the senior survey, senior tax relief programs, and finding more resources for seniors in the area, etc. They are working to connect with the seniors at the senior center more regularly to make sure that they are providing the best services possible. The committee also voted 3-0 to recommend approval of appointment 562.
Thank you, Councillor. Any discussion on these two appointments collectively, 553 and 562? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis? Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve appointments 558 and 559. They are both appointments to the Curtis Fund.
Second.
Thank you. First, in, I guess, calendar order, we had appointment 559, Ms. Dana Reimer. Ms. Reimer ran the Newburyport Youth Services soccer program for many years and coached for many years previous to that. She would like to join the committee to give back to the community. There was questions posed to her, and she made it very clear that she understands that the committee's role is advisory to the council and that the committee's decisions are not binding. There was public comment during her appointment. noting that wards 1 and 2 are not represented by the residents that have been put forward for the committee as a whole. You may remember we have 4 total appointments that are residents, and the order establishing the committee was very clear that the residents should come from 4 distinct wards within the city. Obviously, we have 6 wards. There's no way to make 4 people represent 6 wards. There was also public comment about the potential for conflict of interest of a school committee member that has publicly acknowledged that they are also running for council, and whether or not that there would be that conflict of interest. We are still gathering information on whether or not there would be a violation of the charter or state ethics for any particular elected official to be on the committee. There was, a suggestion during the committee discussion that the council president should consider, as he considers councilors to appoint to the Curtis Fund, that he should be considering councilors that would represent those wards that would not be represented by the residents on the committee. Ms. Reimer's appointment 559 was voted 3-0 to recommend for approval. The other appointment for the Curtis Fund is 558, which is Mr. Ray Feltz. Mr. Feltz is president of the Girls Basketball League and a board member of the NEF. He would like to join the committee to also give back to the community. He's also clear that the committee's role is advisory to the council and that the committee's decisions are not binding. As previously noted, there was a mistake in the appointment letter that he was, it did not represent him as being from Ward 6, and that's hence why we had that earlier. The committee voted 3-0 to recommend the approval of appointment 558.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just pursuant to some of the public comment that I said, I do think I would really like to express to the council president that I think we really should only be considering councilors, and that does not need to be specifically the ward representative from those councilors, but we should be considering councilors from wards 1 and 2 should all of these appointments move forward, so that we do have representation of all 6 wards across the city. Thank you.
Yeah. Just to that point, I'll be making announcements later this week about the Curtis Fund, so thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, so the motion was made to collectively approve appointment 559 and 558. And hearing no further discussion, roll call.
Councillor Shin?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue? Yes. Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes. Councilor Preston, thank you.
Yes, motion to approve as amended Order 727.
Second.
Thank you. First, I would like to acknowledge and publicly thank the mayor for his apology that he submitted to the Daily News. It's a really important step, in my opinion, in the right direction for the public healing and restoring trust as it relates to this particular matter. But so prior to the committee meeting, we did receive amendments from attorney Sarah Spatafor, who is the city solicitor, focused on 2 particular issues. One, that the city council cannot direct the actions of the administration and staff, and secondarily, that the council should be very careful to in no way appear to be retaliatory to any union member that may have filed a grievance. Attorney Spatfor and I met prior to the meeting, and those amendments were made available to the entire council as well as the public before our meeting. Also, I noted in our committee meeting that councilors should fully understand, and I want to make sure that this isn't lost on anyone, that the final whereas in this particular order is a policy statement that the council agrees and concurs with the findings in the investigation, and that we feel that further steps are warranted. I just want to make sure that everybody understands that as you consider your vote on this. We began the meeting with public comment recommending that the committee consider amending the order to add corrective actions for the library board. The bulk of the discussion in committee was around the role of the library board and whether or not we could, as a body, be suggesting actions for the board to consider, as well as reviewing practices in the archival center. There was a lot of acknowledgement of the fact that, sort of one of the biggest losses as this process has moved forward is that the community has really lost access to the archival center and a lot of the expertise that has previously been there. And so the committee, in conjunction with Ms. Spatafor, Attorney Spatafor, who was present for the meeting, created amended language, which is reflected in the version in the packet. The committee also accepted the amendments from Attorney Spatafor that were available prior to the meeting. The committee voted 3-0 to recommend approval of Order 727 as amended. One last note is Councillor Donahue did ask during committee to have her name added as a sponsor to the order, and I, as chair, failed to direct the committee to accept that amendment during our meeting, and so I will ask for us to amend the order to reflect that, and I apologize for not doing that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Thank you, Councilor Preston. Councilor Preston?
Yeah, I would like to amend Order 727 to add Councillor Donahue as a sponsor of the order.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, discussion on the amendment? Okay, roll call on the amendment.
Councillor Shan? Yes. Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Okay, thank you. Yes, sorry. Any further discussion on the overall underlying motion? Councillor Wright?
Yes, thank you. Although I'm not going to ask to have my name added to the ordinance, I'm fully supportive of where everybody arrived on this. I think it was a good use of the city's funds, and it was a worthwhile exercise in an attempt to take care of a very sensitive situation. And I hope that this now resolves it to everyone's satisfaction.
Yeah, and I'll just add as a point of information, at the next Library Board of Directors meeting, which I think was maybe the night after this committee meeting, I did raise these issues, and the board is, the head librarian has reminded us that he has made us aware of, and again, I'm an ex officio member by virtue of being the council president, that there are trainings through the Mass Commission, of which I'm going to garble that, of library boards, and also there will be a statement forthcoming from the Library Board of Directors that was discussed, and a smaller group is going to be issuing on behalf of the board. That should be sometime in the near future. So again, thank you to the sponsors for moving this along, and I think getting further into and try to get it better. Councilor McCauley?
Yeah, I just would like to commend the sponsors for ushering this through. I know it's a lot of work and effort to put forward this. I also appreciate all the work collectively done by the council to support the sponsors and to support the messaging going forward. I would suggest anybody who would like to add their name should do so at this time going forward. But I yield, but I just wanted to make it work to say thank you for those who took it upon themselves to be sponsors.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Donahue?
Thank you, President. I just wanted to quickly just thank the original sponsors, and this issue has been very sore for a long time for a lot of folks. I have long since been a big proponent of getting to the bottom of it and trying to, really figure out what went on and, how we can move forward from it and not make the same mistakes, but obviously restore what's lost. So I really do appreciate the work that went into this, and that's why I agreed to sign on as a co-sponsor. But I'm glad we're here, able to get to this point. It was a good spend, so I thank you all.
Thank you. That would lead us to a roll call vote.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes. All right, thank you, Councilor Preston. That would lead us to general government. First, I'll make a motion to receive and file communication 550.
Second.
Thank you. So we met as general government on June 16th. Communication 550 is in your packet. This was the original request for an investigation by a group of individuals from the community back in April 2024, so what a long saga this has been. And we kept that in committee for this time just as a placeholder if we needed to have further discussion on the library investigation. Obviously, we did take steps to pass an order back in July or so and got the final report a few months ago. So at this point, seems reasonable to receive and file the communication. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes. Thank you. Motion to receive and file communication 636. And I'll try to mega motion this a little bit. So receive and file communication 636 and approve order 709.
Second.
Thank you. So the communication is from the city clerk from May that gave us the dates that the registrar of, I almost said registrar of motor vehicles, but no, we don't have that here at the local level. The registrar of voters agreed to, in terms of early voting, in the case that we have a preliminary election in September, and for the election in November, which we most certainly have. So obviously it hasn't been determined whether we're going to have preliminary election at this point. And so that's the communication. And the order similarly is needing to be approved by us, and this does have the same dates, and also adds that this is authorizing, the order is authorizing the city clerk to hire, and through the police marshal, deal with the police details for the above-mentioned preliminary final elections. Also, the poll workers are listed, and we did add last year, and it is in this year, a stipulation that the clerk may add or delete from that list as is necessary. I think as we all are continually learning, elections are a core function of the clerk's office, and there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that happens to get the polls properly staffed, and this is the names that we have now, and again, they could be added or deleted. And then this also authorizes the city clerk to send the notice of this order to the Secretary of State's office. So collectively, this will keep us on track. I don't know if the clerk has anything to add, but we did approve this in committee 3-0. Approve and receive and file. Any further discussion? Roll call collectively on communication 636 and
Counselor
order 709.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes. Okay, motion, let's keep my motions in order here. Let's see, motion to receive and file communication 640.
Second.
This is, Chief of Staff Seer was unable to be here this evening, but I believe Finance Director Manning's still here and may want to add to this. So again, this is a communication. This was sent to us in May by the administration. We had, let's see if I can get this right. So we had approved the funding for this. So this is, I believe, a $75,000 amount. And this scope of work was discussed in committee. We did make a couple of changes to it. I believe, and other folks who were in the committee may want to add to this. We made some suggested changes that were accepted by the administration around the timing of a final report. So again, just for refreshing people's memories, so this is a grant that we were given that is going to help us consolidate common services and consolidate replicated services. And this is involving the school side and the city side, and functions that would be looked at through a consulting process would be IT, human resources, finance, and facilities, all very key. We did add in the deliverables just a specific mention of the city council, and you will see that amended. It is in the packet. It's, I believe, right behind, it's right after Communication 636. So we did add some language about that. And also, I think there was a healthy discussion about the timing on this. So in order for this to be helpful for the FY27 budget process, we changed the final report due date to December 1st. So in order for that to happen, and again, this is a communication, but again, we made those amendments. So although it's the motions to receive and file, those changes were acceptable to the administration. So that's it. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan?
Thank you.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis? Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Sorry, we're just double checking to make sure this is in the agenda. I'm sorry.
It go to Communication 636 in the contents.
It's just not bookmarked.
And it's under that.
Got it.
It is in there, it just doesn't have a title to it. Yeah.
And it's not underlined as coming out, so it's just a little confusing, but, yeah, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes. Okay, that would lead us to a motion to approve Order 729, which is a resolution in support of the Office of City Clerk, amended. Okay, thank you. This motion was discussed in committee, and we did approve it 3-0. And the addition that has been amended was adding a whereas, and it is in the packet, that adding a whereas regarding the Council's General Government Committee per Article 2, Section 2-32, with the mayor as an ex officio member, that committee is an opportunity for the clerk's engagement with both branches of government, both the executive administration and with the council. And again, the intent of the order is just to help facilitate and understand role clarification between the clerk's office and again with the city council as the hiring authority. I think that's the right phrase for the city clerk, and we hired her as of April 4th, I believe it was, of this year. Seems like 2 years, not 2 months. And just clarifying, where the clerk's office stands, our support for the clerk, and also being able to work well with the administration. So that is the impetus behind it. So, and again, we approved it 3-0 in committee. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes. Thank you. So we will meet in general government. We're scheduled in 2 weeks, whatever that date is, and I know we have at least one new item, which is an appointment for the Ordinance Review Committee as a communication. So, that's it for general government. That would bring us to Councilor Wright, licenses and permits.
Okie dokie. Motion to approve appointment 556. Second. So this is an appointment to the licensing board for Dickinson C. Gagnon, colloquially known as DC. This term will expire on July 15th, 2031. DC appeared before our committee, shared his interest in being part of the community. He's been a lifelong resident of Newburyport, and he's interested in contributing to the commission's work as far as the licensing board goes. His approval was recommended 3-0 from committee.
Thank you. Any further discussion on appointment 556? Hearing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis?
Yes.
Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve application 261. Second. So this is an application for the 11th annual Harborside Half Marathon and 5K. It's going to be on Sunday, November 29th of this year. It's the 11th annual, so it's the same event with no significant changes. The applicant came before us via Zoom, and we went through a review of all the paperwork. Everything was signed off appropriately, and the insurance is in place. It was recommended for approval 3-0.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Application 261, Harborside Half Marathon. Hearing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue? Councillor Granis? Councillor Harmon? Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve application 265. Second. This is the 34th annual Walk Against Domestic Violence, sponsored by the Jeannie Geiger Crisis Center. The applicant appeared before us. It's the same as, there's no significant changes to the event. All the paperwork was in order, everything signed off appropriately, and the insurance is in place. It's recommended to approve 3-0 out of committee.
Okay, any further discussion on application 265, Jeannie Geiger, Walk Against Domestic Violence? Hearing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue? Councillor Granis? Councillor Harmon? Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve application 266. So this is for Yankee Homecoming for 2025. It's scheduled for July 26th through August 3rd. Jason LaCroix appeared in person before the committee. There's a lot of work that goes into running Yankee Homecoming. We appreciate everything that the committee does. There's no significant changes to last year's schedule. There might be a few differences on events and locations, but nothing that's of any significance. All the paperwork's in order, all the insurance is in order, and we recommended approval 3-0.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on application 267? Hearing none, roll call.
Councillor Shan?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue? Councillor Granis? Councillor Harmon? Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve application 267. So this is for the Newburyport Greek Food Festival, a favorite of mine. This is from Friday, July 25th through Sunday, July 27th. It's generally from 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. and 3 p.m. on Sunday. They do close a portion of Harris Street for safety reasons. All of that has been signed off by all the applicable city officials, and it was recommended out of committee 3-0.
Thank you. Any further discussion Application 267, I think I misspoke earlier, but, so this is for the Greek Church Food Festival. Hearing no further discussion, roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve application 268. Second. So this is a block party requested on May 19th for Lincoln Street between Beacon Avenue and Marlborough. This is the first time that they'll be have requested permission for this. They've received all the appropriate signatures, and because it's a block party, there's no insurance required. And they have notified all of the residents affected in that area. So it was recommended for approval 3-0 out of committee.
Thank you. So any further discussion? Application 268, block party, July 26, Lincoln Street. Roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granis? Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to return application 269 to committee. Second. So my apologies to the applicant. This is for a movable sign application. It's just a clerical error on my part. I didn't invite the applicant to our last meeting. I'll make sure to rectify that and have her appear at our next meeting. So if I could have a roll call vote on that, please.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue? Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to receive and file communication 646. So this is a communication from our own fire department announcing that they'll be doing their annual Fill the Boot drive in Market Square, and they'll be collecting on July 31st, August 1st, and 2nd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Thank you. Motion to receive and file. Any further discussion on communication 646? Hearing none, roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue? Counselor Granis? Counselor Harmon? Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston? Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to return ordinance 672 to committee. Second. Again, this is something that we discussed in committee. My intention is to leave it in committee and allow it to expire, or allow a vote to be taken at the end of our term to move this over to the next legislative period. But we've had discussions, all the discussions that we've been had on this particular issue, and this is the ordinance order created by Councillor McCauley to create the discussion around the parklets.
Thank you. So the motion is to return to committee. Any further discussion? Councillor Zede?
Sorry, just to the chair, was the intent to have more discussion or just get to the end of this session?
At the moment, there's no intent to have any additional discussions until the end of the parklet season. So some more discussion may be prompted once we complete the parklets season.
Councillor Zede?
I would just say, this passed through budget and finance first, and I would take a lead to say there was a vote because there wasn't, but I do think there was general consensus that we had concerns over meeting the cost of the parklets and that this proposal was fairly reasonable. So I'm wondering if there might be consideration to just simply make a motion to approve. If there isn't a tangible way, if there isn't really a meaningful way for more conversation, I can't speak for anybody else, but I'd like to just take a vote on this and at least push the fees. When we get closer closer to a season for something, it's usually much harder to make a change, and we're in the middle of the season now, and these wouldn't take effect until next year. So I'm just, maybe being a bit pushy, but just pushing that idea forward rather than just sitting on it, letting it die, or go to the next session, and then we're in the heat of parklets, and it will be very difficult. So a thought or a suggestion.
Okay, Councillor Harmon and
Thank you. So I wouldn't, I guess I would borrow from both my colleagues on this. I would support sending this back to committee. In my conversations with business owners, particular Ward 4 resident, Ms. Caswell, who is very involved with the restaurant group downtown. I think their expectation, unless something else has been communicated either through the administration that I'm unaware of, was that we would go through this parklet season, understand the costs. Restaurants would be able to monitor those costs through this parklet season, timing it around October when the parklets would be collected, when we can also understand the condition of the parklets to pencil in an assumption around what would maintenance costs look like if we were to continue as is. Having a more robust dialogue with restaurant community at the table at that time. And so therefore, I would not support, pushing it through tonight, certainly not without, having provided some notice to that constituency in the city. So I think sending it back and holding it would be great. And then if we choose to go a different path, then we should, make that public, have that conversation in committee, and then bring it out with that intention in mind. Thank you.
okay, Councillor Zede, you have your hand up. So the motion on the floor is to return it back to committee. Councillor Zede made a suggestion, Councillor Harmon made his comment, and Councillor Zede, and anyone else?
Hey, so that's fine. It's not a die on this hill kind of thing for this evening, but I would just say it's really telegraphing to DPS that we need an accurate tracking of costs, not with due respect to restaurants. This is the city effort, city money, so we've gotten, different estimates and sometimes perhaps approximations of what the costs are for the city, but maybe this is the opportunity while it's heading back in the committee to just say publicly on the record that we need a really accurate actual cost, how many hours go into, at least into the fall at this point, and clearing up the parklets and so forth, bringing them back, storing them, what's it going to look like when we get rid of them, because I think that ultimately is what drives, the pricing here, if you will, on our end. Of course, we want the input of the users of these, really the restaurants, but we need to know our costs, and I think that has been a universal request, regardless of what to do from there. At least getting solid information really help this conversation proceed, so I'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? So motion is to return to committee. All right, hearing no further discussion, roll call.
Councillor Shin?
Yes.
Councillor Wright?
Yes.
Councillor Zede?
Yes.
Councillor Donahue?
Yes.
Councillor Granis? Councillor Harmon?
Yes.
Councillor Khan?
Yes.
Councillor McCauley?
Yes.
Councillor Preston?
Yes.
Councillor Cameron?
Yes. Thank you, Councillor Wright.
Thank you. I'm exhausted.
We'll have our, if there's any business to attend to, our regular scheduled meeting will be next week on Wednesday at 6:30.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. Nothing is coming out tonight. We are going to be meeting next Tuesday, though, to hopefully get rid of, to finally resolve the signage ordinance. That will be coming out hopefully at our meeting in July. And then at the same time, just to remind folks, we do have our joint hearing with the planning board on the 16th of July to go through the two ordinances for Low Street that were sponsored by the Ward 3 and Ward 5 councilors. Other than that, that's it for P&D.
Thank you, Councillor Shand. That will lead us to Public Works and Safety. Councillor McCauley.
Thank you. I just want to double check that you can hear me okay for meetings.
We can.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve appointment 554, Kevin Martin, Special Police Officer.
Second. Okay, it's been seconded.
Thank you. Officer Martin has just recently retired from the force after almost 30 years or so on the force, a number of different roles that he has undertaken. One of the things that he's involved with right now is the critical incident response team, which offers psychological support to some of the officers if they're involved in any type of trauma retired, is he'd like to continue with that. He'd also like to offer support they could in terms of response, dispatch, volunteering as a first responder, etc. along the way. I think he's a little bit more active than, wants to be a little bit more active than just doing, some patrols or some details and things like that. So we had a good conversation. We recommended 3-0 that we appoint Kevin Martin as a special police officer in Newburyport.
Thank you. Any further discussion on appointment 554, Kevin Martin? Hearing none, roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve collectively appointment 555 Chris Charos and appointment 566 Justin Ducher. Both are reappointments to the Harbor Commission.
Second?
Okay, it's been seconded.
Great. So Chris has, this is a reappointment for him. I believe this is his third appointment to this. He's spent 35 years on the river itself. He understands the river inside out. He runs the charter on Palm Island. He's been involved with the dredge, etc. along the way. Very insightful. We had some discussions about the incident and the point with the swimmers, and that everyone's concerned. They're all off. They're trying to take steps internally that would help mitigate those types of issues going forward. But it was an accident in that particular case going forward, but they are very, very cognizant of that. Justin, as well as a reappointment, this is his third reappointment as well. He spends a little bit more of his time on the Coast Guard recertification and the impacts of climate change impacts going forward. Both of them have revealed that it's a very robust and diverse thinking board. They all have their specialities that they bring together and under their chair, and they have some pretty good conversations about that. And they will support the work effort that we've heard about through the Harbor Master in terms of increased visibility and safety, building classes and things like that. So we recommend that both of these folks for review.
Thank you. Any further discussion on collectively appointments 555?
Could I just note that there seems to be a scrivener's error, that it's actually 2028 is Chris Charles's date of expiration. It was on the appointment letter, it is in the packet that way, it's just a typo on the agenda.
Great, thank you. All right, so 2028, thank you. Okay, if no further discussion on these two collective appointments, we'll have a roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
And Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve appointment 565, Dan Simon to the Water and Sewer reappointment through 27.
Second?
Okay, it's been seconded.
Great. Dan came before the board. He gave some insight as to the role that the Water and Sewer Commission tries to take. They like to provide oversight, operational oversight, and offer suggestions and prioritization of the department and work and projects that they have going forward. They spent a great deal of time kicking the tires on ranking, prioritizing, advising projects includes the CMP going forward. His background was for many years water treatment, so he understands it from the inside out going forward. We impressed what he thought were some of the priorities, top 3 priorities. He said he would go pipe. We talked about the pump station as well as the water treatment facility walls that we're talking about to preserve the treatment center down on the Water Street. There wasn't a public comment on that, but basically Dan had done out that he sees the Water and Sewer Commission's role as advising the department on their priorities going forward. We had
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on the appointment 565, Daniel Simon, reappointment to Water and Sewer Commission? Hearing none, roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Motion to approve ordinance 203.
Second?
This is an ordinance to actually to loosen restrictions on parking at the corner of Carter Street. Currently, there's no parking 75 feet from the corner. After review, it was determined that they probably need 35 feet or so. So the request is to move the sign to reduce it to 35 feet and free up some much needed parking in that particular area. Vote was 3-0.
Okay, any discussion? Councilor Wright?
Just like to point out the typo in the title, unless we're literally taking on the Bostonian accent and we're referring to it as parking.
Okay.
There's the R is missing in parking.
That's funny.
Good catch.
Okay, thank you.
Scrivener's error.
It's really funny.
Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion to receive and file ordinance 201.
Second.
Okay.
This, the sponsor, after some consideration on some rewrites, has asked us to receive and file this and allow some much needed work behind the scenes about taking community time going forward. So we held a committee and had second thoughts, and we then one motion to receive and file and request was done 3-0.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Wright?
Just to the clerk's office, I know it's hard to do, but there's comments that are still added to the work. So if we could just remove those, we'll make sure we catch them the next time, because they really shouldn't be part of the record.
It would be helpful when they're sent into us also, if the tracks come off, it makes it a little bit easier to retain them correctly. Yeah.
Okay.
But we will work with the counselors to do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
That is it. That is it for us.
We haven't voted on that, Councilor.
Oh, sorry.
All right, sorry, thank you. All right, so the motion is to receive and file ordinance 201. Roll call.
Counselor Shan?
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Granis?
Yes.
Counselor Harmon?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
We have nothing further. Our scheduled meeting is Monday, 6:30, June 30th, rather, at 7 o'clock. I will have to confirm that we have some appointments here, and I know that next week is kind of tough with holiday and maybe cranking in, so we may have to reschedule that, but I'm still going to try to get folks in engaged as we speak today going forward. Other than that, I have nothing further. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That will bring us to good of the order. Councilor Donahue?
Thank you, President. Regardless of what happens at our next meeting, I just want to apologize for my outburst at the last council meeting. I do want to publicly acknowledge and recognize that the floor is no place for name-calling or profanity, and I deeply regret my moment of weakness and outburst, and promise that will not ever happen again. And like I said, regardless of what happens at the next meeting, I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor McCauley?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to my colleagues and commend the work that we've done. If you notice, we had 39 items from committee that were brought forward from the last meeting that we had. That was on top of the work that we did with budget and the CIP and our daily lives and all of those things. It's very easy to blame the council for a lot of things going on because we're a diverse body. We think differently. We argue in public. We agree in public, those types of things. But at the end of the day, we've all worked. We've all pulled up our bootstraps, so we all worked. And we brought 39 items from the last meeting to this meeting as well. So I'd like to say thank you to my colleagues.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll add just a couple of things. Again, thank you to everyone for last week's budget process, Councillor Zeid in particular. Long night, everyone didn't get everything they wanted, but we moved it forward, and I think a lot of really good discussion, both on the budget, operating budget line items, but also the CIP, and I think really sets the stage to understand the projects that we need to focus on going forward. So really appreciate all of the work there. And yeah, similarly to echo what Councilor McCauley said, yeah, we have moved a lot of things forward tonight. You know, a little bit unusual mixture of remote and in person. Councilor Wright, please drink some water when you get out of here because you had to do a lot of talking, and thank you for working through all of those budget and finance items. And Councilor Donahue, thank you for your remarks earlier as well. So as I said, I will announce the Curtis Fund appointments. I hear the various you know, interests of you know, representation, and I'll do the best I can. Also, I'll be announcing, and this is a statutory deadline, the periodic review of ordinances committee. So the mayor has appointed you know, their 5 people, I believe it is, and that's going into committee as into general government as a communication, and we'll discuss that there. But I'll also be making those appointments later in the week. And again, appreciate those who have shared their thoughts and interest or lack of interest, and I'll do the best I can. Also, I just wanted to acknowledge Councilor Granis's announcement that he will not be running for re-election. So thank you. I'm sure the sentiments are shared by all of his colleagues. My immediate response was personal bummer because it's been good to work with you, Heath, and you've brought grace, intelligence, wisdom here, which we all have. You've packaged it very well together, and thank you for being a role model of what a good civic person is all about. So appreciate that. Other of us may or may not be running. Councilor McCauley, you may be running for something, so we'll save that for another time. But again, do appreciate you know, the work that we've done recently, and wish everyone well. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Last roll call of the evening, and those of you not with us, enjoy.
Councillor Shan.
Yes.
Councillor Wright.
Yes.
Councillor Zeid.
Yes.
Councillor Donahue.
Yes.
Councillor Granis.
Yes.
Councillor Khan.
Yes.
Councillor Khan.
Yes.
Councillor McCauley.
Yes.
Councillor Preston.
Yes.
Council President Cameron.
Yes.